just seeing the match start here between Zak Shepherd and John Roe. We'll go to full match commentary this in just a moment. But was that a sort of great break from Zak to start off? But was that an important thing for you almost? Because I know you've always had a fantastic record pretty much wherever you've played, and obviously your international record speaks for itself. But was that almost a big thing to sort of feel like you had your feet under the table almost a little bit, and just almost felt within yourself that you kind of belonged as the sort of the new kid on the block, and you maybe needed a couple of results, as silly as it sounds, to sort of just say, no, okay, right, I'm here now, I'm comfortable?
To a certain degree, yeah.
Yeah.
But despite how I might look when I'm on the table, because everyone says this, but I'm not the most confident when I'm playing. I lost a lot of confidence over the years. Struggling mentally, mental health issues, and it's really not my confidence. And it took me a while to make the move over to Ultimate, just because really, probably deep down, I didn't really feel like I belonged.
Yeah.
I wasn't confident enough to make the plunge. But I've done it now, and I feel like I'm gaining that confidence back. It's not always there, but
is it for anyone? Yeah.
No, exactly. And I just want to try, just try my best and compete. That's literally my goals. Yes, you enter every competition to try and win, but deep down, I just want to perform well, play well, build the confidence, and then just see what happens from there. I
was going to say, I suppose that's probably, I think, at least sort of. Nice shot from Zak there as he opens reds, but I think it's probably if you had to describe the ideal mentality going into a tournament, that would probably be it, because it's such a volatile sport, as we all know. You can play perfect and not win. You can be in the form of your life and not even get out the second round in a tournament if it's just going against you. So that must almost just having that kind of at least freedom from expectation of victory must actually be quite powerful. I need to control myself. So if I play really well, I'm happy regardless. I've done my bit. That's quite a good place to be in.
Yeah, I just think. Don't get me wrong. You'd rather win the match regardless.
Sure.
Everybody wants to win
yeah.
and go through and win tournaments. But to start off with, when you play in a first round match or first match in a group stage, you're nowhere near winning a tournament.
Yeah.
So the first thing is, right, just put a marker down, play well, try and get that first victory on the board, and then just build from there. And like this season, you'll see with what I'm saying, I've either lost straight away,
yeah,
or I've gone deep in a comp.
Yeah, you've gone on a run.
So it hasn't always been good stuff this season, but I'm honest about it and said I've struggled at times, but I just made the decision to just go for everything as much as possible and just stick to what I'm actually good at, and that's potting a ball. And then, my white ball was a bit wonky early on in the season.
Better now.
Yes, it's a bit better now. Getting there.
Yeah, we've seen the pictures of your setup at home. Finally got that room built, and look, good place to be, John. We're going to let you go because we've got a match on here, and I know you've probably got a match in about half an hour, the second match of the group stages. So we're going to let you go. Well played, and we'll probably see you later on in the show. Well played, John.
Thank you.
There goes John Chambers. He can take himself a break after that victory over Vivek Mak. And this right now is John Roe about to break off against Zak Shepherd. Zak has been, I should say, as I step on my own microphone, in really good form in recent weeks. He had a really good run at the World Championships, looked for a little while as if he was really in contention to go and potentially take that down. Lost a bit of a heartbreaker in that tournament. Deciding frame battle against Eddie Barker in the quarters, I think it was. I tell you who will know is the man I call Mr. Anorak, and not for how waterproof he is. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 was with me at the World Championships. He joins me now on commentary, stepping into John Chambers' seat. And yeah, I believe it was quarterfinals Eddie Barker, last frame decider for Zak Shepherd. That was the end of his tournament, but he looked in really good shape before that and looked in very good shape during that match as well to potentially go and do something special.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Zak was well ahead in that match against Eddie Barker, and Barker staged a big comeback. He was also victim to Chris Melling's ridiculous 3-frame in under 3 minutes, or just over, bang on 3 minutes, and then lost that 6 red. So he's not had the best of runs. Maybe you've got to feel a bit for Zak, because he has been playing, I mean, brilliantly.
Well, it just sort of ties in from what we were just talking about with John Chambers. You know, you really can't always control your results. You can just control what you yourself are doing. And Zak is playing well at the moment. He needs to keep doing that, keep believing that the tide will turn. He invariably does and can. As we see his opponent John Roe at the table here, and it's a lovely couple of shots to open everything up. It's taken him a little while, but the ringer now is 3 balls and the 8 ball from home. He's got everything opened up, but this is a missable shot. Tough cueing makes it, and he should be all but home and hosed.
Great pot there from John, and he's left a nice angle as well.
Yeah, it's a lovely shot.
So just got to steer the cue ball away from that little pack in the centre of the table there with the 3 yellows and the black ball. Just wants to guide himself through the gap just to the left of that to get on this last red. Hello. He's okay.
That's a nice little flick, isn't it?
Yeah. Just wants to pot this red and go past the 2 yellows just above the black and just bring the cue ball into the centre of the table. Played that very well indeed. Came round the angles. This black ball into the bottom corner. And the equaliser goes in from Roe. So 1 apiece. Nice little finish in the end there from John.
Yeah, it was a solid start. It looks like everyone who's sort of showed up on the TV table has been here to play this weekend. We saw a great performance from Jaden Billingham, a 6-0 whitewashing of the Bear Ben Doyle earlier on, and Ben played 1 shot in open table in the entire match. Jaden restricted him to absolutely nothing and played flawlessly. The match we just saw between Vivek Mak and John Chambers was of a great standard as well. Vivek flew out the traps, made a mistake, and John really didn't let him back in. A high quality start to this year's European Open, and a reminder, if you needed it, group stages at the moment. No match clock, just straight races to 6. And got 6 players in groups. Top 3 all go through. Top 1 goes straight through into the last 32, which is definitely a boost. 8 ball going down won't be a golden break. That 8 ball will come back up. These 2 are in a pretty good group, in all truth. Phil Parkin is in it. He won a 6-5 decider against Eli Jackson.
Yeah, I just spoke to him outside the door then. He says, oh, I'm so relieved to get through that.
Yeah, tough match. Eli Jackson, I think, if my memory serves, one of our next-gen players in the tournament here today. 6-5 win for Phil there. Tom Jones is also in group number 3, alongside Zak and John. He took a 6-5 win over Bradley Ellison himself. So, you know, factoring in that frame difference may come into it. Both of those guys on 1, and Bradley and Eli on -1. Still loads of room for manoeuvre there. And for Zak and John, whoever wins this match, if they win it by more than a frame, will go automatically top of the group, which is a nice way to start things off in your European Open campaign. All the players in the group will play each other. As I say, top 3 go through. Top 1 goes directly through to the last 32. And when it comes to knockout pool, you really can't put a price, Tony, on losing a round, in the sense of not having to play a match. That is such a boost. A bye is absolutely golden.
Gives you a break.
Well, yeah, very
you
true.
You can nip back to your hotel or whatever, just have a
Zak Shepherd would
chill
like
out.
a break right now after that shot that he's just played. Played into a good area, but he's sort of got a bit stuck on that yellow. He's an incredibly creative shot maker, is Zak Shepherd, and he's going to have to be here. Looks like he's kicking. I think he wanted to slide by that and clip the yellow he's closest to now into the bottom side pocket as we look.
He's done okay there because he's not left anything.
Well, he's had a result, yeah. He put his hand up. Yeah, very fortunate to leave that, but he will take it.
He's had a quiet year this year, John Roe, isn't he?
Yeah.
By his standards, I mean, you know, he's I don't think he's been deep much anywhere, which for such a good player, it's been on a bit of a barren run.
Yeah, always dangerous is John. His issue, as it has been for a few players, is putting the run together. Capable of beating absolutely anybody, capable of playing some world-class pool, but also capable of throwing one in the next game where he doesn't really do himself any justice. That's been his big issue over the last sort of few years with the ultimate pool.
I think Zak's left John a little sniff here. He wants to get that red into the top left-hand corner. That one that's tied up in the cluster of yellows does double into the middle. Everything else is fairly open. I think he might have a little pop here. The ringer. It's worth a go. Even if he couldn't make the double straight into the left-hand middle, it will go twice across as well, and that's not a particularly difficult shot if you get right behind it. Certainly worth a roll of the dice for John. Well, he's looking at this double. He's going to take it into the corner. It must slide past that yellow ball that's stuck to the red. There you see it does. He wanted to get the cue ball out further than where he did. He made sure of the double, but by doing that, he's sort of collided into that yellow. So now he's got this tricky little cut to the top left. And he's played that very well indeed, and he's in perfect position now, John Roe. Well, Zak's little tempter that he left, so it's going to be swallowed up by John Roe to say thank you very much. I'll have some of that. And this is very impressive finish here from the man from Cambridgeshire.
A little bit of juice into that one, but he's absolutely fine. Lovely finish this from John. Very good. 2-1 lead for the ringer, world champion. So a good start.
See, those are the things that in a match like this, you know, it's a fairly short, well, it's not a short race, but short enough.
Yeah.
Where you play a sort of safety, you think, well, I'll let you have a go at those, and then your opponent gets them. So then the next time you're presented with that sort of opportunity, you'll probably think, I'm not going to bother this time, I'm not going to do it again, and then you'll end up going for things that you probably shouldn't do. And that's where the old little psychology thing comes in with those sort of shots that you play.
Yeah.
Because every time I sort of played those sort of shots, and I think, you know, and I'm not being a safety player myself, my opponents would generally get them against me. I think, right, I'm never doing that again. So then you end up sort of like throwing your arm at all sorts. And that was a very, very tidy finish there from John Roe. It will be the ringer to break, frame number 4. That's a very good break indeed. Gets a yellow into the centre. Everything all open for John. Certainly not what Zak Shepherd wanted to see. Spoilt for choice. Yellow's the choice of colour for me. And a nice little sort of shaping area in the middle of that table there. 3 reds that are near the black look finicky if you were going to go for them. Here's yellows. John selects. And I always say it, and I'll say it again, is that little cluster of players from that area where John is from. Amazing how many pros are in that little group there.
It's almost like
it practice together, you know, with Luke Gilbert and Dom Cooney, Phil Harrison.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? You know, it almost reminds me a little bit of like, almost if you like old school WWE, WWF. You had like stables of sort of like teammates. Like you got the Cambridgeshire lads, and then you've got, you know, for example, the Burton boys with the Chambers brothers, Cohen, Bradford, all that sort of lot.
But that area,
got the lads up at Merseyside. You know, there is a real sort of, there's clusters dotted here and there all over the country. It's a nice thing.
Yeah, they drag each other along, but it's always been in that area of the country. You know, for when I was playing it, you had Ansley, Lindsay, Mickey Lambert. Phil was the youngster coming through then. Some great players in the Cambridgeshire area. Nicky Parnell, he was a professional with us a good few years ago. He's from Peterborough. The baby-face assassin, we called him. It's quite funny because when he turned pro, they just called him Babyface. He said, I don't like it. It makes you sound very soft and weak. So they put the assassin behind it. Is that better? Yes, I much prefer that, bless him. John Roe, 1 ball away. Getting to 3-1. In goes the black. John Roe wanders back to his chair, now with a 2-frame cushion. Looking very assured out there today.
Yeah, he does. Looks good. We have not seen, for my money, anywhere near enough of John Roe on our screens this year. It is something that he has to change, because invariably can't show everybody. He needs to hit some deeper rounds to sort of get that regular TV time. And yeah, as you mentioned earlier on in the piece, it has been one of those years for John. It has not quite happened for him. It would be good for it to happen now, not before long.
Yeah, I remember a couple of players that used to say, you know, I never get on the TV, and I remember the TV company saying to him, so well, give us, you know, meet us halfway, win a match. It'll help.
Zak Shepherd on his break, usually an excellent breaker of the balls. I hope I've not put the curse on him.
Of course you put the curse on him.
Should have stayed. Should have kept my mouth shut. Sorry, Zak.
And that's not the first time that anybody said that to you.
We'll see. A little bit of a grimace from John, as it's not exactly dot to dot, but I tell you what, you won't mind it. Just sort of figuring it out, really. There's not a huge amount of breaking of balls to do. It's more just about picking your pattern. He's going to save his extension. A bit aside just turns the cue ball away from that yellow at the top of the table.
Yeah, it's the yellow that's behind the red top left, and it's also where you get onto the one that's nearly on the black spot as well. I'm not sure if it'll pass into the centre. If it does, then that's easy. But it's more the one at the top. You can get on it here. I mean, I'll be half tempted to pop this yellow at the top, bit left-hand side, and come into that red ball that's on the left that's blocking the yellow.
Yeah, it's the 10 ball that's right on the blue spot and the 12 ball on the baulk line that are causing him the issues. That is not the best shot he's ever played. I think he's still all right. He has a shot. It's not the shot that he wanted, but beggars can't be choosers in this scenario.
Beauty of playing that shot. I remember on the old tables, you had to play that. There's a big rubber thing round the pocket there where you had to cue across, and a thin strip of metal between the cushion and the table surround, and that is not on these Rasson tables, so that's an easier shot than what it used to be. Credit to having that table out there, that Rasson Apollo. You know, very, very nice tables to play on, especially with that cloth on it. That stuff's the best cloth I think I've certainly ever played on, and I know some of the other pros that have played on it and just they love it because you can really, really now control that cue ball.
Not pulling you out of retirement anytime soon, are we told?
Oh, I'm not good enough anymore. Too old. Too old, JMO. You beat me with that big Riley monstrosity that you've got tucked away somewhere. Is it still here? It's normally skulking about lurking in the corner of this commentary box somewhere.
It seems to have been our commentary room here at Players Paul and Snooker Lounge in Newcastle-under-Lyme has been.
When I first saw that queue, I thought this room was a museum.
Must have taken you back to your glory days. So, Zak had nothing to go at but a tricky plant. He hasn't left much.
Took me back to Joe Davis's glory days seeing that queue. Sort of 90s, 20s, 1920s when he played. Around there, 30s.
I don't know, I wasn't alive then.
So the queue was though. But the queue had been going a good while then.
Yeah, one of the few remaining surviving artifacts from the Russian Revolution.
Yeah, it came with the Magna Carta, that queue.
That's all the Magna Carta was, an instruction manual and how to put the two-piece together.
Yeah.
Purely containing from John Roe. He is 100% dangled the carrot here. Always quite enjoy these frames because there's a bit of a psychological battle going on right now.
Yeah.
John has essentially laid the gauntlet down and he said to Zak Shepherd, I don't think you can clear up from here. Show me.
Well, this is what Zak did earlier, and John Roe took them out. So he's basically giving Zak the same opportunity to maybe throw a bomb back here.
Yeah, it's where sort of the game within a game. There's a bet been placed here by John Roe. He's laid against the Zak Shepherd clearance. Will that bite him on the behind? We will find out.
Well, they are tricky. I mean, he wants to pot this red, get on the red that's just beneath the yellow on the left-hand side, so he can just dribble it into the centre pocket.
It's the 4 ball. He's on it. He's probably not as straight as he would have liked to have been, unless he's going to take the one to the right centre first and come back. Could do.
I think he has to now because he's a bit short of where he wanted to be originally. So it's a case of just a slight diversion. That's better. What he wants to be able to roll this in, get the cue ball a bit off the rail so it leaves a straight red into the bottom right, and then the one that's next to the black ball be his last ball. But he wants a cue ball sort of bang in the middle of the table so he can just pot it, stop the white dead, not the black in the centre.
Yeah, don't mind that.
He doesn't have any angle here at all. He's got slightly to the left of the centre of it where he wanted to be.
Yeah, he looks like he's straight. It's about 3/4 along the bottom cushion, doesn't it?
It means he has to come further down the table.
Yeah, he's grand. That's a lovely shot.
Well,
John Roe's gamble.
Yeah, it's not going to pay off. It's basically a bit of payback from Zak Shepherd. Brings him right back into this match. Nicely done.
Lovely out. I must admit, I was a little surprised that John hedged. Because more than anything else, because it's a lovely finish from Zak, but more than anything else, the shot that he played was was such a nothing shot. You know, you feel like he could have, you know, he could have tried, maybe done a little bit more. I think he just laid a sort of a basic snooker, not to sort of expect to get a foul out of it, but just to sort of keep the control. He essentially just kind of turned the table over. Essentially, just well, you know, you have a go, see what you can do. I just felt like that was a risk, especially against a player of the quality of Zak Shepherd.
Yeah, I mean, Zak's playing well. He has been for a good few months. He's not, you know, his defeats haven't been because he's played badly. He's been very, very unlucky.
Yep.
You know, the Melling thing, if he makes a ball off his break in the middle of that, you know, that ridiculous flurry that Melling threw at Zak Shepherd, if he makes a ball off his break, he wins that match. And that's history. And this is the now. But yeah, Shepherd's been playing well. So, yeah, surprising from John.
Booming break from the winger. You'll never see him cut breaking.
No. Yeah, open table here for John Roe. Opting for the thin cut here with this yellow. Is the cue ball going to be kind? There's two yellows there, now a plant into the middle. I think he can get through to the one at the bottom of the table. If you can, you should fancy, well, you would fancy John to go out from here. Pulling back the reins. Left Zak Shepherd with a full snooker here, but it is a one cushion escape, and there you see where he's likely to be playing. But you feel that he might have to pot one of these balls, as he is going to leave John Roe with a finish.
So just got a delay in the arena here. I think the referee and timer just trying to figure some bits out. I think we're A-OK. See the back screens there. We can ignore those. 15-second shot clock, very much not in play. I think I'm hearing there was an issue with not hearing the beeps, which has now been fixed. 30 seconds a shot, but you still need to hear that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Issue fix. John at the table.
Well, he went to try and play that little plant there thin and knock the yellow into the middle, and he's failed on everything there and just left Zak Shepherd straight on his red ball. Well, pick of red balls.
He got that all wrong.
He did. Just put a little snip, thin cut plant.
So I'm going to try and bump this yellow out of the way. Didn't love that choice of shot because that cannon was so big. You had to get it spot on to be on your next ball.
Yeah, it could have gone the other way as well, and I think he's probably thinking, I wish I had.
Yeah, I bet he is. I bet he is. John might get a reprieve here. Should do, really. Be surprised if Zak can find an escape from this position, but he surprised me plenty of times before. He still has a pot on. It's tricky, but let's see.
Yeah, Zak will be disappointed with that.
especially as he's
Well,
got
that was
a lovely shot here.
Yeah.
If this yellow goes bottom left, which it almost certainly does.
And that would have really hurt John as well, because obviously the last frame was when John sort of dangled the carrot, got punished. And then if he'd have got his mistake punished a second time in a row, it would have really put Zak Shepherd's tail up, but he's been let off. Playing that one in the middle now. That's surely got to be his last ball. No, he is going to play it. Obviously preferred to leave the ball into the corner last. You screw down for the black. Nicely done by John. This for 4-2. And in it goes, and a very grateful John Roe wanders back to his seat, restoring his 2-frame cushion.
Yeah, and it's never ideal making any kind of mistake, especially a big one in a frame like that, but there's going to be 2 mistakes in the frame. Make the first one.
Yeah, exactly.
Because John won't be thinking about that misplant anymore, but no. I'm sure Zak's still thinking about the error he made.
Yeah, all day long. Very important break now for Zak Shepherd. Referee Dean Winter hands Shepherd the cue ball. Frame number 7. Here's the Welshman to break off, trailing by 2. Gave that a bit extra. Where's the cue ball going? And into the centre it goes. And I don't think Zak noticed it was going. It wasn't actually going straight in there. He went to go and get his playing cue. And it's just that little nudge when it hits the jaw and then the red bumps it into the centre. Just look at the reds. This has been an easy little mop-up for John Roe.
Hasn't it just? And he'll go on the hill here.
Yeah, this straightforward black ball into the centre for 5-2.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier, Tony, it's not a short race, but it's a shortish race. And this is when it feels like a short race. Zak has made a few mistakes, and he might not play another shot in the match now.
Well, you go back 5 minutes and he was within 1 frame, and now John's on the hill. So,
Yeah.
you know, it all happens very quickly.
Yeah, it does. It can really snowball in a race to 6. There's not much margin for error. The margin in this tournament comes from the fact that it's group stages and Zak can go again. It's not a particularly easy group that he's in. None of them really are.
I never go with the opinion of, like, you play these group matches, so well, you're not under pressure in the first match. I think you are.
I think you are in this tournament, yeah. I think there's certain tournaments Ultimate Pool has done before where there was a little bit less pressure, maybe too many group matches and not enough jeopardy. But I think in a group of 6 where 3 go through, and for example in this group there's 4 pros, and finishing top gets you a bye into the last 32, I think there's plenty on every single group match.
If you lose your first one, you start thinking, you'd be sat there thinking, I need to win 3 matches. All of a sudden, you're thinking like that, I need to win 3 matches. And then you actually think about the enormous task that is against 3 top quality players. You think, oh, I just want to go home, I want my mummy.
Zak Shepherd at the table. John breaks dry, but how often do we see it that when a player really seems to hold the advantage in the game, even when they break dry and turn the table over to their opponent? Look at that situation towards the top left of the table. That red, that yellow, that 8 ball, a mess. Zak's got to chase one. He will.
Just didn't want that little flick on the yellow. They wanted to come south of that.
I wonder if there's a shot he can play that probably involves a double on the red and bumping away the yellow. Just at a glimpse of the lesser spotted Tom Cousins. He pops into the unofficial queue storage to collect his equipment. About to go off and face Charlie Snedden in his group. He's in group number 1.
Yeah, he's had a decent start, hasn't he?
Yeah, 6-0 win over Jack Bevan, or Bevan. Apologies, Jack, I'm getting your name wrong. I'll take on Charlie Snedden, though, or Tom, in just a moment. There's so many matches going on right now in the European Open. It's sort of what happens with group stage pool, of course. The 8 ball is now open for Zak Shepherd. It was a lovely shot.
Yeah, you can't go too far away from the arena because you will be called back very shortly to play another match.
Well, exactly, and what I was about to say is if you want to keep a track of all the results, and we will try and do our best here on the broadcast for you, but yeah, Ultimate Pool live scoring app is your friend. Head to your Ultimate Pool app, navigate to live scoring, all events, European Open, and you'll see all the group tables, all the matches as and when they're being played. You can kind of follow the early stages of this tournament. As we get into the deep waters, though, which will come on Saturday night, we reckon. It'll be when it gets really interesting in the prelim round, and then the last 32 straight knockouts. Say that just heard in my ear. Show producer. It's a great shot from Zak.
Yeah, he got himself into a bit of bother there, and he's dug himself out of a hole.
Just to finish the point before Zak takes this tricky shot on, we'll finish the group stages by tomorrow lunchtime. We'll then have the prelim rounds, the last 32 and the last 16 before we tuck ourselves into bed, ready for the clocks to change on Sunday night. Needs that to keep running. Great shot. It's just made plenty of the production crew sigh here. I think they've forgotten about the clocks changing. Lovely 8 ball from Zak Shepherd. 10 o'clock start on Sunday as well. We start an hour earlier. So some would say we lose 2 hours of sleep. Just the one.
Some would say we gain 2 hours of daylight. Ooh, getting up really early.
Daylight is not something I've ever associated with a weekend here.
No.
The lovely Players Point Snooker Lounge.
Well, no, you don't normally get here when it's daylight either. It's myself and Mr. Webb. I found out through the years. I'm on my way. I'll be 10 hours snipping to the health food shop.
Zak Shepherd about to break off. He needs a frame here, otherwise he's going to find himself beaten by the ringer. Break hasn't shown up for Zak in this match. Needs to now. It's probably the best one he's hit.
Oh.
Probably the best one he's hit.
2 in a row, he's gone in off in both centre pockets.
That's tough. Oh, that's so tough.
3 collisions.
I mean, sometimes it's just not meant to be, is it? His only hope here is going to be John not being able to land on the 8 ball.
𝗍𝗏𝗵 was doing that in the corners in the previous match. He had 3 in off the breaks.
It will be reds for John. Reds aren't bad at all here. His only tricky ball will be the 8. Just needs to land on it. But there is a gap there. There is a
plenty
window.
of room. If he can drop this in here, dead weight, and play that one down the rail, you sort of screw the cue ball into the gap of those 2 yellows. Well, he's managed to just bump it out of the way.
Right.
Even better, gives him more room.
Controlled that well.
He's just picking his last pocket. Also his pocket for the last red, should I say. And this looks to be over. Anywhere just before the blue spot, really. He's got about a little mini dustbin lid in the middle of the table there. He can land in. There's plenty of room to get onto that black. Just where his fingers are now, to the edge of there. He's gone a long way over. Why has he gone that far over?
I think that's a better way of going, personally. I think the margin was bigger.
Well, if he's on it, he's done well there. I don't. I think that's really tight to land in that gap. Especially when you consider you're coming off 2 cushions to get there.
It looks on the overhead that he's got the room. Must be tight, because he closed one eye and everything. Yeah, it flew in. He fooled us all, did the ringer. 6-3 win for the former world champion, who is back in the shed with a win to his name. He goes top of the group, ahead of Tom Jones and Phil Parkin. And we'll catch a word with John Boy when we come back in a sec.